This is the Night Owls Disc Golf Podcast. I'm Shane.
I'm JP.
And I'm Ben.
All right, we're at it here, guys. So, door_disc_golf, night_owl_pod. These are our Instagram handles, and then doordisc.com, where you can find all your disc golf needs. And we will get into shop updates at the end. So if you stick around, you'll hear what we are bringing in that's new and fun. And we do have some new restocks. So jump on the site right on that main page. We'll have everything that we, I guess, just brought in. So as soon as it comes in, we'll do it. And we are now showing weights of every single piece of plastic that we bring in that is in the disc shape. So if we bring in like other pieces of plastic, we won't. Well, I guess not all disc shape ones, because the Pico Minis from Zing are not, which are the can toppers, which are cool. We do have some new of those. Ben, you want to give us a little rundown of Casual Relief and if we are going to be consistent again, maybe?
So here's what I'll say. Casual Relief is the Door Disc Golf podcast that is fun disc golf topics to kind of break out the monotony of your week. Nothing super time sensitive, but just some guys giving their hot takes. With everybody being busy, our goal is to do 2 a month. So we to be bi-weekly, I think, is where we're kind of at right now, just because of there's things happening. Especially when you've got one guy on the podcast who's in grad school and he's doing a full-time job and then like 20 hours of homework a weekend. So we did just have one that released last week, and we are going to be recording one on Tuesday night. So that should come out for your Wednesday. So you will have back-to-back episodes. But that is our goal, is to be working bi-weekly. Hopefully working towards weekly, but at a minimum we're working for bi-weekly.
Yep. And if you want to hear Michael Cunningham make an argument for comparing a fruit to a fruit, that's a good one to listen to. And if you want to know who the mystery man is that got these guys the time lapses, you'll just have to try to figure that out.
That is a thing. I still haven't thrown mine because those guys didn't have the wherewithal to pick it up.
Yeah, so it's still sitting up here.
I trust I'll get it at some point.
Yeah. And I'll give you on-air permission. If I don't say this on the podcast, you can say anything you want. I'm completely transparent with how we run our business.
Oh, so we just were just kind of beating around the bush a little bit because we didn't want to bring the backlash of just like, Shane held him for all his buddies. He didn't actually give anybody a fair shot. Like, that was just kind of where we were kind of towing that line.
Well, and I know there is some ill feelings towards individuals that did what we did. But the purpose of having our team and our shop is to give them early releases and first crack at it. And that's some of the benefits that we can offer, because we don't give you guys money. So if you want early releases, then I guess reach out to us and tell us why you would want to be on our team and why you're worth it. So that's one way to get it. And the other way is to spend 40 hours a week working for us when we have a job opening. So those are the two ways. So, and when those limited releases come out, those are the ways to get it. Or just be a really handsome bald guy like JP and talking to a mic.
You should also give the caveat. You should also give the caveat that well, he's on the team, but you should also give the caveat that we're not the Ranger team either. Right. Like there is a little bit more vetting that goes into the Parliament team.
And there's a few guys that listen to the podcast that have reached out, and I have been watching. I've been peeping you guys out for the last year. And just little by little, I've subscribed and I'm watching what you guys are doing. So, especially if we don't know you're not local, we really like to see who and what your character is. So with that being said, I know there's a couple of people that have reached out to us and talked about being on the team. I'm watching, don't worry. And then I guess we'll have some changes coming up this year again with the team. But we'll get into that later. We'll get into probably January time. We'll start talking about that again. With that being said, what is the modern era of disc golf? Where's that line in the sand?
For me, I think it's 2016. I feel like that's just kind of like the easy kind of cop out because it's the first year of the Pro Tour, and with the modern era of coverage, of more eyes, of money growing, I think then that's kind of led to this to the surge of where we are now. So I feel like that's like the safe cop out answer. So I'm going 2016.
2016. Okay. JP?
Yeah, that sounds like a good answer. I would almost want to say when flight numbers were added to the discs.
2012?
Yeah, I think somewhere around that era. I don't know if that's such a good like a good marker as far as, you know, but it definitely kind of changed the way people look at disc golf and the way discs fly. But I like I like Ben's take on media coverage as far as disc golf, taking it digital, getting it as far as we can, you know, the introduction of DGN, Jomez, all that. I think digitalization's the kind of helped usher in the modern era of disc golf.
Okay. So when we talk modern era, then you guys are speaking of DGN as the catalyst. Or are we talking Pro Tour?
No.
I'm calling it the Pro Tour with Steve Dodge, not Steve Jobs. Very
Steve
different
Jobs?
people.
Wow.
Steve Dodge.
I feel like we should do a lot better than we
Steve Dodge is kind of having the wherewithal to understand that the national tour he saw the writing on the wall for the national tour to kind of struggling and really not having a purpose of like what was a national tour. So for him to really piece together a good, like set the groundwork for a tour that made sense in terms of at the time geographically, timing with majors, like where are they going in terms, you know, mapping things out. I think he's the catalyst.
Okay. So do we dismiss UC Maresma with the World Tour?
He's like some sports hall of fames have different categories of things. Like these are the builders, these are the innovators, these are like the. I think I would just put UC in the World Tour in just a different class. I think they're, you know, it was very noble and a very good attempt at, you know, creating a tour. I think it's just very different. UC had very different ideas than what Steve did, and I think it was just in my opinion, and obviously I'm just some idiot on the internet, I think that UC just bit off a little bit more than he could chew at the time with the World Tour, and just a lot of expectations that just were not met, and just like some things were just not feasible, where Steve like the first Disc Golf Pro Tour was 6 events, so you know, very methodical. So I think that's just kind of the difference for me, at least.
Okay. Yeah, because even prior to the World Tour, there was an American tour. And I think even prior to that, there was a U.S. tour. But, I mean, those are all kind of ancient history. There wasn't really cataloging of those. They were more just tournament series that happened to be captured by somebody. You know, and I think UC was a good fit. If I remember rightly, the World Tour did not have a women's division. Am I correct? Officially a women's division? I think it was just men's MPO. I don't think there were FPO fields.
That could be.
Okay.
I don't remember.
I may be speaking out of turn on that, and I think that's why he got a little bit of hate. And I think, if I remember rightly, it only lasted 2 years. So the reason I bring this up is Paul Macbeth got a little huffy on Twitter. And I was just scrolling through, and I rarely get on Twitter, but I was just scrolling through, and he made the hot take years in the making. You know, Lynchburg is going to be the disc golf mecca pretty soon. And that was in 2021, but that caught me, and he has it pinned on his thing. And right below it, I'm currently watching the USWDC, and they're showing stats. and they say modern era, what year did the modern era start? I feel that they are just picking a year to create storylines. And I would say I agree 100%. That's exactly what they're supposed to do as commentators. They are trying to create excitement and storylines for people to follow and to engage with, right? And if they're just saying, hey, Tatar is the first woman to win all the majors in the modern era, then that's fantastic. But, Juliana Korver won one, and there was only one. And then I wanted to say Valerie Doss won three, right? If I remember rightly, there were three or two. And Paige.
It's very misleading.
It is very, very misleading.
Well, especially if they can't tell us what they think is the modern era.
Exactly. And you look at it and say, okay, that's great, but where's the lineage of these so-called majors? I don't think they're labeled as a major, just like some were labeled as national tour events and some were labeled as so on and so forth. But is there really any credence behind saying that these are majors? They're majors because they're titled as a major. That's it. There's no, like I said, there's no lineage. There's no history behind these things. We're starting to see that in the modern era. I'll throw up the air quotes. But I don't know, to get huffy about it, on Twitter, to kind of bring that up, because, if you notice, Paul McBeth doesn't tweet very often. But when he tweets something, it's usually because he's hyped up about something, negative or positive. But it's usually because he's not happy or he's super happy about something. There's no in between. There's no just like, oh, that was a cool shot. So obviously there was something that rubbed him the wrong way. And I think he feels that pretty soon he is going to be discounted as not in the modern era. So I think that's where that's coming from.
Man, he's like that. We've talked about some other people that are kind of the, what's the term you would use? Like the bridge between the two eras. Mm-hmm. He's definitely kind of falling in that category right now, as far as modern to the old. Well, I would even want to call it old, but the pre-modern era. I don't know what else to call it, but that's right. What it is.
And I would even say Paul Ulibarri, Nate Sexton,
Barsby,
those guys also bridge a gap.
Oh yeah, I refer to them as the 2010s Innova All Stars all the time. Sure. That's just how I loop them together, and you can just say that, and everybody just does the exact same thing. That same list that you just ran down of Barsby, Girth, Double G, Sexton, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And, and I would include them in the modern era. I would also include them as in some of the old school golfers as well. And I think people are starting to see their age in the sport. And I think Paul McBeth is not absent of that. And I think he's trying to, and I don't think it's a knee jerk, like, stop it, I'm not old. I think it's more of a, hey, if we're going to start saying these things, let's validate what this means. I think it's pretty important. I mean, I think it is a good idea to figure out what we call modern era. If we're talking the digital cataloging of our sport, I think that's a fair start. But now, when did that start? Because Terry's been doing it since 2006? Like, he was there when YouTube started. Didn't he help turn the switch on? So you think about the disc golf guy, he's been doing it forever. Central Coast was doing it well before Jomez. Now Jomez is doing it, and DGN and Ace Productions and all these other ones. So
I think that's valid. I think I'm going to hold with that with a tour. Like the modern era starts with the Pro Tour, because the Pro Tour outlines a specific calendar and starts to make it feasible to be a full-time professional disc golfer, where you didn't have to work another job because you could make enough money playing on the tour, and you knew that the purses were going to get better. So I think that's, for me, is where I'm going to hold on the modern era.
I like it. I think it's a pretty definitive line. I really do. The start of the Pro Tour. I think it's a good one. So, all right. Well, that's my thought-provoking question based on a tweet from Paul Macbeth. So, I have nothing to say about why do you suck because I have not played a lick of disc golf. Anybody else?
League points champion. Got it done.
That's right. Yes.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah. Congratulations. So points championship in your local league.
Thank you. Yeah, you just show up, play consistent golf. So basically it worked is that UDisc standings is pretty slick. So shout out to them for starting that for this year. But yeah, you just set it up and you get points for participating, and then you get more points for how you play, and then you can set how many top, like it'll take your top X. So we did top 20, and over the course of the summer between when we started in mid-April to last week. So
very nice, very, very nice. All right. So just so you guys know, if there's a little delay between, and when I say you guys, the listeners, there's something going on where I'm not picking up certain, like I can see your mouths moving or you freeze. Luckily in JP, we're in the same room so I can hear you. But Ben, sometimes you freeze and I just can't hear you. So
I'm hearing that on your end as well.
Okay. If I don't respond, then that's why. So, is there a way if we take a quick break and I turn off the echo cancellation? Because I think that's what's causing it. Should we try that? Is it hard to patch back together? See, this is no cuts, folks.
It could be. I would say I can hear you just fine, and the visual is just an after. So
okay,
I would say we can roll with that. We can just roll with where we're at, and we'll figure it out for next week.
Sounds like a plan, Stan. All right, we will move to that. So, we'll go into the next thing of thrower, hanger, or flipper. Did anybody buy anything new that they want to share with us?
I did.
All right, let's hear it.
Ooh.
I did. I bought a couple of softy candies from so we'll go back just a hair on this. So you guys remember when I got the butters that were all melty and weird?
Mm-hmm.
So that retailer that sent them to me was like very like apologetic and took care of me and was just kind of like, hey, like I don't know what's up with this. This kind of sucks. Like I'm reaching out to Clash and my supplier, because it was before Bobby's shop was up and running. So like now this individual just obviously gets everything straight through Bobby, but before there's a different, we'll call him importer, that he had his retail shop from. So because he took care of me, I wanted to, return the favor and show him some love. And he had the candy ready to go. So on his site. So I went ahead and purchased softy candy.
Very nice. They're saying that's going to be very similar to a Deputy. Is that correct?
Full disclosure, I don't know the DD lineup super well. Fierce.
Fierce. There you go.
Okay, then that would make sense because I putted with Fierces for a long time, for a while, and then like just needed to make a switch, or was thinking about making a switch, and just especially with the Lone Star debacle this year and everything. But the softy plastic I think is my favorite plastic I've ever putted with ever. And then like with the candy, like the goal was they wanted to make the best putting putter ever. And then like all the reviews and everybody that's said anything about it has basically said it's the butter, but just a tad shallower. So I'm excited to get to see get that in and break it in during Winter Putting League this year.
Perfect. I lost you guys again. So what I'm going to do is remove our video.
What the heck?
If you can hear me, we'll go to low data mode, and then hopefully we'll be able to hear everybody. Can you guys hear me back? Are we back?
I'm back.
I hear you.
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay, good. So you just won't be able to see us.
Yeah.
We're just going to go to low data mode. So with that, so you said it was a shallow putter, right?
Yes, that's what I've read, seen, heard. That's basically where it was. Clash had put out in their release for the candy itself that it said that the finished version of Jomez worked with them on creating what they call the world's best putting putter. So
nice.
And
All
if,
right.
and if you know anything about me, it's a beadless putter.
I still think the Judge would be a better route to go, but that's okay. I get it. We can't all be right all the time. All right. So, anything to share, JP? What about you?
Nope, I didn't get anything.
No. All right. Sounds good. So, with that being said, we are going to get into our preview. So, we're going to talk a little WR Jackson and maybe some local course information here in Wisconsin as well. So, we have a kind of a Highbridge Hills is a heritage golf course up here that actually Worlds was played on that we'll talk about. We're going to talk Pro Tour schedule, and then we're going to do disc golf pet peeves. So once we get into that, everything gets moving. So let's start with WR Jackson. I think, Ben, you have the most information about WR Jackson, or...
I read the release. I don't have all kind of the nitty gritty details of it, but basically it is my understanding, and it is out there, that Champions Cup had to be moved from the spring to the fall of 2024 as there is a beetle infestation on the IDGC property, specifically a big portion of WR Jackson, that all of these trees need to come down because the beetles are killing the trees, and basically it's just taking so many things out that it's not really the vibe or the feel of WR Jackson or wooded golf, and like it's just not really feasible. So they're basically having to redesign the course, pull parts of other courses on the property to kind of piece together a new WR Jackson. So that would not be ready in time for spring, but it'll be the last event of the year in Georgia then for 2024.
And that's sad because we have a local course, our local course, the Emerald Ash Borer came through, and that's a big thing in Wisconsin. But the trees were not removed and have been infected. And that's kind of basically every ash tree in Door County at this point is infected. And there's really nothing that can be done. It's preferable that you remove the trees and destroy them so the beetle can't keep just jumping from tree to tree. But at this point, it's kind of a lost cause. But we have quite a few very established, very predominant trees that we use for course design that we're going to lose. So I can understand what WR Jackson is going through. If that's the same thing that's happening there, I mean, if those things get decimated, and those courses depend on those trees, especially that short course, but those courses depend on those trees. So when those trees don't exist, or they keep falling or dying, or they have to cut them down to kind of eradicate this beetle, man, it's going to change the layout of that course dramatically. Did I lose you guys again?
No. Yeah,
Nope.
I just didn't know if JP had anything to add, but yeah, it sucks. I think what I will say is that I think, and this is maybe a spicy take, that the PDGA and the IDGC need to work with the people of USDGC. And I know that you don't necessarily want two majors being played on the same course in a year, but I think that they should now would be a great opportune time to work together to design something that would basically be Champions Cup can rotate out, and then in the future, USDGC just slides into this new WR Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
Because
I think that's a great idea.
Because obviously we know that Winthrop Arena and the Winthrop course is just not sustainable as that university continues to grow and build out infrastructure. It's just unfortunate, but the course is going to be gone.
Yeah. I think it's a great idea. And I also think it's a good time to make the changes that need to be made. Is it too soon to bring up Highbridge Hills? because I think, Ben, you have a good take on this. Fantastic facility, a ton of acreage, and a favorite of Matt Yadis of Casual Relief. And it will be closing October 31st. But it is for sale. And 200 acres for, what was it, about 500,000? It was like 495 or something like that.
It was 490. It was like 400 something if you didn't want the disc golf stuff, 500 if you wanted all the baskets and all the disc golf related stuff.
Mm-hmm. So when they say disc golf related stuff, is that tee pads and baskets and signs and all that fun stuff?
Yeah.
I didn't think there was really much else out there. I mean, maybe there was some grooming equipment or something, huh?
Well, they have tee signs. They've got, baskets galore. They've got, just, equipment that's out there. It's, stuff for tee pads. Like, I think that was, I don't know exactly what the numbers were, but I knew that it was 500 all in. And if you wanted to buy it and keep it as disc golf, you would be the top of the priority list, or top list of chance to buy it.
Right. Yeah. I saw that post on Facebook. So, yeah. So, JP, have you ever played at Highbridge?
No, I've never had the chance to get up that way, like we were kind of talking about. It's kind of a hike to get up that way, just to like get up and play. But it's got 3 courses on it?
5.
Was that right? 5? That's awesome. Like that's almost a mecca, of like spend a whole weekend there and try to get, play as many. I mean, Matt did that like a while ago, and I think it'd be just fun. Like you just get a group of people, go up there, play. I mean, you think about it, 500,000 for 200 acres. I mean, anything that, if that was up this way, that would be way, way more money than that amount. So
a lot more money.
Yeah.
A lot more money. We look at 40-acre plots around here and they're $300 and some $1,000 minimum. Like I haven't seen anything, unless it has some sort of like, I don't know, wetland delineation where it's worthless. But yeah, I mean, you're 300 plus thousand just for 40 acres here.
And I think like if you're somebody that's interested in the property, I don't know why you wouldn't keep the disc golf stuff on the property. I mean, what's an extra couple $1,000 just to have that stuff? So
yeah,
might as well keep it out there.
Yeah. Well, and the ability to bring in a bit of money to help pay the taxes and, hopefully your mortgage payment and all that fun stuff. But, unfortunately it went up for sale at the hike of, interest rates, so when you're talking a $500,000 loan, you have 20% down, and then you're adding an additional, how many, 6% on top
7,
of,
like 7.
Yeah. I mean, from what it was prime, you could get things for 3%. And now it's up at like 7.5 for commercial properties. Like it's unfeasible. It's feasible for some, but for most it's out of the realm. Unless you got 500 G's sitting in your pocket somewhere. That'd be great.
Yeah.
It's just a very sad situation because of the people that are involved with the course, or the property rather, genuinely just want to provide a cool spot for people to get away and play disc golf, and they've done a very good job of that and restoring it. However, it's just ran into some road bumps along the way, and partly it's because of just the location. That we kind of talked about, where it's a hike. It's if you're looking at the map of Wisconsin, it is just south of Lake Superior, and it's about an hour to Duluth, which is like the closest major city. So it's still like you cannot. What I'm getting at is like you cannot just hit up your buddies and be like, hey, you want to go to Highbridge tomorrow? Like you have to plan. So they're not like. So because it is pay to play, so you're not generating that income.
Well, and there's no real lodging establishments that close. It's a rough area. I mean, every time, or the times that I can remember playing, I loved it, but I also played kind of in the low life of it, I guess, kind of the more rougher period of it. And I still loved it. I mean, it was disc golf, but I bet you if I went there now, I think it'd be much different story. I bet you I would like it a lot more, and I wouldn't have those negative connotations about it. But yeah, I mean, it used to be it was location of Worlds, and then that was that. That was kind of the height of it, and then it went through a real rough period, and then it got revived. And unfortunately, there's just not enough money in the world or not enough money in the game to keep this thing going. So sad times. Hopefully somebody in the disc golf community has enough money to snatch that thing up and keep it running, or maybe the PDGA. You want to go into that, Ben? I love that idea.
Yeah, I thought some of the things that I saw on posts where people were trying to kind of grassroots an effort to kind of get in contact with the PDGA to see if they could provide any sort of financial relief, or if not, ultimately those folks wanted just the PDGA just to buy the property and then move some offices up there, or invest into the property. I mean, we've discussed this in length on other episodes of the show, so I'm not going to beat a dead horse, but the PDGA does have large amounts of money in financial reserves, so they could do something. And, I'd love to see them do something. I don't think that they'd buy the property outright, but it would, if they could provide some financial relief or provide an investment into infrastructure on the property to, not only would that also allow more people to go up there and stay longer, because right now there's no showers or bathrooms or running water or anything like that. So if they made that investment, then people would be encouraged to stay and play. But also if the PDGA announced that they are, coming out as investors or caretakers into this property, you start to see probably more people getting up there from out of state, because it's like this hidden gem for all of us in Wisconsin, but it's like 6 hours away from us in Green Bay. So it's, like I said, it's hard to generate, the funding from pay to play through these avenues when there's just not those amenities there right now.
Right. Yep, I get it. Well, hopefully something good happens. So, all right, let's get into the schedule for the Pro Tour. They just announced recently that they just released the Pro Tour schedule. There you go. And the two things that I noticed out of it is no Vegas at all. And I didn't see any Silver Series unless they are releasing those at a later date. I didn't see no Silver Series. So, there's some big changes coming to that. So I am going to pull it up so we can have a good conversation about it. But yeah, I'm surprised by it. So one of you guys want to take it away, or?
JP, if you got anything, I'll let you start.
Yeah, so basically what's happening is, like Shane mentioned, the tour this year is going to kick off with the All-Star event in Orlando, and then there's going to be a new Florida event to start the regular season, the Florida Open in Brooksville. And then from there, they're going to go to Waco, which has been elevated this year to a DGPT Plus event. It will be 4 rounds and have 2 courses. And it'll be worth that extra 100. It'll be worth 150 points. I think that's what DGPT Plus events are.
125 points for DGPT Plus. They did an update on their point system. I'll go through that real quick so we get into this. So it's standard Disc Golf Pro Tour event is 100 points as a win, and this will all be win. And previously where they were called elite events, and then the DGPT Plus are 125 points. The Disc Golf Pro Tour Playoffs is 150 points, and PDG Pro Major is 200 points.
Excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's cool. And everything, yeah, like you said, everything now is just DGPT, no Elite Series, no Silver Series. So everything's just DGPT. Right. There was another event. Beaver State Fling has been elevated from a Silver to DGPT event. Ledgestone, Great Lakes Open, those are both DGPT Plus. And then once again, playoffs this year are going to be Green Mountain Championships and MVP Open. And like we mentioned before, Champions Cup with WR Jackson is going to be at the end of this season. And kind of wondering, how are they filling that void of that weekend, or if they're kind of glancing over that with events.
Mm-hmm.
And not to mention that that's a lot of important disc golf at the end of the season when pros are tired pretty much, feeling the burnout of, playing meaningful disc golf week in and week out the last couple of weeks of the season. So interesting change.
Essentially 5 weeks, 6 weeks between the four majors, four May, 1, 2, 3 majors.
US Women's is really early in the season though.
Yeah. And then
in March.
Women's. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty big. I mean, so like I said, it surprises me that Vegas was dropped entirely. And I think, even they make this random leap over to Stockton for OTB.
Mm-hmm.
And everything else seems like it makes sense. They're following kind of a path. And then they just skip over Vegas. And I understand why they do it, because if they're moving the front side of the tour to Florida, which is smart, and especially with Grand Canyon, then they make their way through Texas. And by the time they get to Vegas, it's entirely too hot to play there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, way too hot to play there, because they wouldn't get to Vegas because they make a little jump from Arkansas, Tennessee to Kansas. I mean, they wouldn't be until May. I mean, it wouldn't be way too hot, but it'd be pretty darn hot there at that point. So
real quick, just to interject, sorry. One of the things that it had mentioned in the releases is that basically they're alluding that the elimination of Vegas and starting the year in Florida is aligning with the long-term planning of the Disc Golf Pro Tour and the tour card holders, and limiting the amount of cross-country travel.
Mm-hmm.
Because,
but then they throw something in California, just some random event in California.
Well, I think that I understand that portion of it, of like that they're just going there. But like when you look at this year's tour schedule, like you went from Vegas down to Texas, and then back to California, and then up the coast. So I think that they're just trying to limit that you're making one cross country trip, right? So you're crossing the country to do that swing, and then that's the end. Like you're not crisscrossing all around.
Yeah, but you're still coming back around, through Minnesota, and then, back up to the Northeast that way.
Yeah, but I mean, like, you get what I'm saying? Like, because you went from Vegas to Texas, then you drove back up west, and then back east, so.
Yeah.
And I think, too, people were kind of talking about Florida was a destination that should have a pro tour. Like, it felt like that was a natural spot to have one that didn't have one. So I think that's a good starting spot. Now, like going through the schedule, do I love that there's 4 tournaments and 4 weeks in a row in Texas? Not so much.
Yeah. Talk about boring golf. And 2 tournaments in Austin, I guess that's US Women's, but yeah, I mean, you're right. I don't love that either. Like, cause that's a long time in Texas. And I think people talk about the Texas swing being something that they don't even really like anyways. I like it. I don't have any issues with
I mean,
it, but man,
maybe with the who knows what the new Waco course, what the added course is. I don't know what that will be, but maybe that'll provide something a little different. But I highly doubt it as far as what it will look like.
Well, you get into certain areas of Texas, and for hundreds of miles, there's no change except for the tumbleweed. So, and I'm not saying Waco and Austin are those areas or Houston, but hey, there's areas right outside there that are just like that. So, there's not that much topographical change when it comes to those type of things. So, I don't know. I mean, we'll see. We'll see. I like I said, it's disc golf. I like it. I'm happy for it. And I'm not saying that Vegas had much to offer either as far as topographical changes. That was on a flat golf course. So I just liked it because we got to go there every year. So, but with that,
real quick, one other important note, with some silver events have been elevated to disc golf pro tour events. Those that were not, will more than like, according to this, is the way I'm interpreting it is that they're these classic silver events. So I'm looking like at Casey White Open, some of these other ones. They will be part of the 2025 tour card qualifying. So like the equivalent of like Ball Golf's Q School or Corn Ferry, that's what's going to be used is our Q School. This is that there will be a stretch of events that will make up the qualifying for 2025.
And that's great.
That's cool.
Yeah. So, and the next post as a teaser on the dgpt.com site is, it says the next post, look forward, or next post, Disc Golf Pro Tour Championship presented by Barbasol announces record-setting pro purse. So I wonder what that's going to be. So it looks like they're bringing a bit more money into the into the game.
Yeah, I can find it. They announced the payouts.
Yeah, I thought they announced the payouts.
Oh, Discard there it is. Look at that. All you gotta do is click on that link. A total of $322,000 will be awarded to the top 52 competitors. So they're going to split up $322,000 to the top 52 competitors for the season-long events. So the Disc Golf Pro Tour is proud to offer a co-equal $40,000 first-place prize to the champions in both the FPO and MPO divisions. So that's great. So they have the tour here. So payout structure, first will be $40,000 for the tour championship. Second will be 22, and third will be 14. And then it'll slowly go down from there. But basically, all the way up to 12th place, you are going to make $3,500. So, wait, that's the total purse for the 2020. Yeah, that's right. Okay. So yeah, that's a lot of money.
That's cool.
Yep. So thanks, Barbasol, for backing up disc golf. That's great.
Yeah, you guys, Johnsonville couldn't do that.
I know. Where you at, Johnsonville? I really like your weenies too.
They kind of dropped off, didn't they?
They did. Well, they were in a couple sponsorships this year, weren't they? No, I don't know.
Ben, do you know?
I didn't see them at anything. They've been involved in the past, but as a company, they've really pulled back. Like they don't do anything with the Milwaukee Brewers anymore.
Oh, really? Sad. Bonus. That's bogus. So, all right. So there's your schedule. So it's up on the Disc Golf Pro Tour site. It's pretty easy to find. And like I said, the only bummer is Vegas isn't in there anymore. Like I said, just has a soft spot for me. But I wasn't going to be there anyways this year because of El Bebe.
His name is Supreme Judge.
Supreme Judge Solomon on the way. So I'll do a name reveal. So anybody that's listening, hit us up on one of the sites, door_disc_golf or night_owl_pod, and tell me what you think my child's name should be. And right now, Supreme Judge Solomon is pretty darn close to the top of the list.
I like just Judge. There's Judge Reinhold, who was in Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
True that. Yeah.
And Beverly Hills Cop. Yeah. Could work.
Well, so his middle name for sure, and it is a he. So his middle name will be John. So it'd be Judge John. JJS. All right. So yeah, let us know. Yeah, funnier the better. I don't care. You're not going to hurt my feelings. Might hurt his feelings, but you won't hurt mine.
Oh,
all right.
Just another small note about the tour schedule. It says that more European events shall be named later. Yeah,
okay, that was something.
Yeah,
because they had Nokia and that was it.
Yeah, PGG right. European Open. So I'm guessing you'll see like PCS again, and what was the other one? I can't think of it.
Well, PCS is always, because that's on that. Oh my god, why am I blanking on the course's name? The number one course in the world. Well, I guess that's MVP right now, but
Yarva, and Yarva's always in a flux of whether it will be there or will not from year to year because of some sort of like swimming area that will potentially be built in the future.
And that's right. I remember hearing about that.
Yeah, so we'll see. I hope it's there. That'd be awesome. So, all right, let's get into pet peeves. Are you ready? So what we are going to talk about is pet peeves, and I want no holds barred. Let's hear them and they don't all have to be super, even if it's like, I hate it when people cut their fingernails on the tee pad and leave them there for someone to step on and get stuck in your feet. I don't know. Just anything. It can be the littlest thing, because we've gotten to pet peeves before, and pet peeves, I think we've talked more generally broad basis. I'm just talking like, even if you're out with your buddies and you're playing around, what is something that can get under your skin and get into your, and it doesn't have to get under your skin. It's just something that kind of like catches your attention. You're like, oh my goodness, why is this happening? So we'll do round robin style. So Ben, I'm going to start with you, and then it'll be JP, and then I'll give you mine, and then we'll go until we just stop having them.
Okay.
Yeah, with that?
Yeah.
That work? All right, Ben, let's hear it.
One of my biggest pet peeves is when I'm playing with somebody and they don't throw like the disc well in that particular shot, or then they just be like, this disc always flips over for me, I don't know what happened, or this disc it never does that, what flip, like, no dude, like, it's okay, like, you release it nose up, you release it on a poor angle, you grip locked it, just don't like blame yourself. You don't like, no, like, I also don't know that if that disc is supposed to do that or not, like, how, like, so what do I care?
Exactly. I like it. But don't you know, it's never the thrower's fault. It's always the thing that's being thrown.
Oh, correct.
Or the basket. It's always the equipment. All right. JP.
I guess one of my pet peeves, even though it's like not that big of a thing, is if I'm getting into, like, if I'm ready to putt and I'm like just about like ready, and someone's like, oh, let me clean this up real quick when I'm ready to about throw, that kind of gets on my nerves. Like, it kind of breaks up your rhythm of getting into that routine. And I'm all for, like, if I'm not there yet and like ready and you're like rushing up to the basket, but if I'm within like my routine, please don't do that.
Right. I would agree with that one. I like that one. So here's one that should make no never mind to me, but it does, is repetitive routines that seem to be a bit excessive. So you just talked about routines, and I'm not talking about your routine, JP. Just these routines when someone gets up on a tee pad or steps up to and they have this thing where they just, I got to do it every single time or else. And I don't know why that gets under my skin, but it's that idea that if they don't get the opportunity to do this, then it's the fault of whatever didn't give them the opportunity. But I don't know. I'm trying to think. Okay, so I played with a guy that had this really strange putting routine, and it was completely fine. It met all the time requirements, everything like that. But for some reason, every time he did it, oh, how about this? Paige Pierce's putting routine, the little flicky flick over her head.
Oh yeah, I don't understand that.
I don't know why it bothers me.
It's just
but
it's a mechanic. It's not.
Yeah.
It's just, that's really all it is.
Right. So, and I brought that, like, that clicked in my mind. That was one of those things. Like, there's just something about that whole like bloop, and then she putts. It just gets me. I don't know what it is. It just, and there's no apparent reason for it. It just does. I don't know.
Maybe it's because it's like you're used to like the way you putt, and you see somebody else, but like you're like you just think to yourself like that's gonna add a whole different motion than the putting motion, and it's like how the heck do you like? There's something but like you said, there's something visual about it that just doesn't make sense.
Exactly. Yeah. So, all right, Ben, back to you.
Groups that won't let you play through, like if you are in a twosome or playing solo and there's a group larger than you should be able to play through.
Mm-hmm.
I have a story about this that was playing one of the local courses here. I was in a twosome. It was myself and one other person, and then this group of 5 would not let us play through. And he said, no, because then we're going to have to wait here even longer and wait for you to play through. And I was like, that logic does not check out. Like there was a backup, a little bit of a backup, but then like it was myself and Lucas who's on our team. Like, so we know our abilities and of what we can do. We were not going to impede his time, this group of 5's time by any means. So please just let people play through.
I like that one too. I usually am so involved with talking to my card mates and telling stories and jokes, and normally it doesn't bother me, but there are times where it's like, I just want to get this done because I got to go somewhere, I got to be somewhere. And it inevitably, that's when that happens.
Oh yeah. It feels like you were just always bound for either a long backup or somebody not willing to let you play through when you are on a little bit of a time crunch, or at least on a schedule.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, JP, your turn.
All right. I hate to say this, but during casual rounds, I'm not a big fan of smokers.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't smoke myself, so I don't, to each their own, but I just generally don't like being around smoking too much. And I feel like it's one of those things where it irritates me when I'm playing if I have to like smell it, or I don't know, there's just something, it gets me out of a rhythm. But I can understand why people do it, because maybe it just helps them. So I mean, it's to each their own, but it's something I generally am like,
Yep. I feel that. I'm not a huge fan of that either, but the only time it really gets me is when, because there's cognizant smokers, like very courteous smokers that'll step away from the crowd, and they make sure they know where the wind's going and all that stuff. And then there's the other ones that are like a chimney, and they're standing exactly where you don't want them to stand. So I can understand that. I can get that.
But sometimes too, I feel like it can detract from them getting their shot off or something, like, oh, I gotta put this out or do something with my cigarette, like set it down so I can pick up back up smoking or whatever, and just whatever. It's just
and inevitably it ends up being flicked into the woods or left on the ground somewhere.
Yeah,
and that bugs me. The trash bugs me. That's something I think we can all agree that trash on the course is a pet peeve of ours. So yeah, and I think a cigarette butt does
carry in, carry out.
Exactly. Hopefully carry out more than you carry in.
Yes.
That'd be awesome. All right. So my next pet peeve is and this is the conversations we have, because I want everybody else to understand that they're not alone in their ridiculous thoughts. So my next pet peeve is when you are, why did I just lose it? I lost it with your garbage talk, or with the garbage talk.
Oh no.
I just had a brain fart and it was like lined up ready to go. Anyways, I can move on. So my next pet peeve is when we have, this was my third one, I forgot my second one, is when you have the individual that throws and then proceeds to John Madden the throw and tell you exactly what he threw, how he threw it, what angle he wanted to put it on, and what angle it was on, and where it landed and where it should have landed, and how the skip went, and if I would have oh my goodness. I saw the shot, homie. Like, I appreciate that, and I know you want to talk to me, but like, I don't need that type of detail. Like, if I miss my line, like, I should have put that a little more hyzer. That's good enough for me. I saw everything else there. I don't need to know what speed disc that is, how long you've owned it, and how many trees you've hit with it, and what shot you did with it last. Like, just throw that disc and let's get on to playing. Like, I don't know if I'm off base on that one, but for some reason that the Madden thrower just really, really gets me.
No, I think you're right on with that. Unless I specifically asked, I do not care.
Right. And I get it. I mean, you want to talk about the sport, but I don't want to talk about your throw. I get it. And you know, it's not that I don't want to talk about it. I just don't want to hear about every single throw. Like, if you want to really talk about a certain throw, let's do this. You know, I love that, but not every shot. I don't need the play-by-play for every shot when I just watched it. So, all right, Ben.
Music. I know that I'm like in the minority on that, but I just don't. I don't like the music on the course because no one's ever gonna agree on what should be played. You know, and it's just like I want to go play disc golf because it's quiet and be out in nature, and I don't want to hear whatever bad music you got going on. So like that's kind of my my stance on music, and I've made it clear before about how I feel about it. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, JP.
Man, I don't know if I have another one right now. I can't think of anything too much.
I got another one then. We can loop back if you have any more. So I have a hard time with dogging courses when we're out on courses. And it's fine to say, hey, I like this course, I don't like this course. But to pick it apart, I really get kind of disappointed about it, how someone will come up on a course that's a fine beginner course, a shorter par, like a 9-hole, short par 3, like pitch and putt. And then they proceed to trash it on UDisc. Like, this course is garbage and only good if you can only throw 200 feet. Exactly. That's exactly what it is. Or if someone trashes a project that says, hey, we're getting a new course in this park. Hey, that park's only 5 acres. How are you ever going to, there's no worthy course that can be in there. Or you should even pull that course because there's not enough. Like, seriously, you got to understand that there's pros. There's amateurs that want to be pros that are pretty darn good. And then there's the amateurs that play for fun that are average. And then you have the people that have never played before, or they want to take their kids out and play, or they want to introduce a 5 or 6-year-old to it, or they want to take their girlfriend out that they just started dating and just be out and active and throw discs. And they don't want to discourage them on these 900-foot holes with OB on both sides and a creek you got to cross and then bridges that you can slip on. With all that, just play the course for what it is, have fun. And if you don't like it, don't go back. Don't trash it so nobody else experiences it. Or don't tell beginners to go out and play these 900-foot holes and say it's a good course for beginners, because it's not. They're going to get frustrated. All right, I'm done. I'm off that soapbox.
My last one are guys that have, it's kind of related to yours, but it's players or people that have just opinions and about courses or about how things need to change, and either one, make no concerted effort to try and make those changes, or to talk to other people to see about making those changes, if that's like, if there's a vocal majority behind making those changes. And then also with that is that there are the people that complain for the sake of complaining, with the fact of like, they don't also understand that a lot of disc golf courses are municipality owned, and there are rhyme and reasons for where pins are, where tee boxes are, how are things set up, like what's allowed, what's not allowed, like how wide are the fairways. Like, there are a lot of other factors that are in play in that, and like, stop complaining about it. And it's just the way it is. The municipality owns the course. They can do what they want.
That's right. And that's why a lot of times things happen so slow. Yeah. So, JP, did you think of another?
Yes, I did. This is the last one. Unsolicited advice.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if I'm out on a course or if somebody sees me and I'm throwing a bad shot or working through something, or this might even go for me, like, I don't want to tell somebody what they can work on unless they ask me, or I don't want to hear from somebody else unless I ask them, or, get consulting or coaching from somebody.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing like kind of like having a backseat driver that drives me crazier than anything like, oh, you should have turned there, you should have done this. Or it's just like, yes, I am working on my form, I know what I've got to do, thank you, but I don't need to be reminded of how bad I am right now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's always the worst, when you release a shot and then you hear the bird chirp in the background about why you released such a bad shot, and you're watching your disc turn over into the abyss and you're like, dang it. And then someone's like, man, that was a horrible shot. You turned your wrist over. Shut up. I know.
Yeah.
I'm watching the disc do it, Yep. I can understand that one. So I don't have any more pet peeves. I think I was one up on you guys. So I will, I have a lot more, but I'm going to finish on saying that probably every single one of these things I have done at one point or another. And maybe someone's called me out on them, maybe not, or maybe I just realized it and didn't do it. So just be cognizant of who you're playing with, because everybody will be way different of who you play with, as you could hear from all of us speaking. Just have fun, pay attention to the crowd you're playing with. And if someone walks away from you while you're telling them about your beautiful shot that you just threw right in front of them 10 seconds ago, they probably don't want to hear about it. So there you go. I think outside of that, I do have one more pet peeve. People that don't talk crap during rounds. That really bugs me. If you're really serious and you don't want to like trash talk me or trash talk with me or trash talk about me, man, it's so much more fun when you do. And I don't care if it's during a pro round or not. A rated round or not. I just want to see it happen. So, all right. Any last ones to leave us? Is there something else, Ben, that you wanted to get off your chest? I know you said last one, but just in case.
I have too many. I'm a very particular person, but I think like those are just like the big ones. Is that like,
sure.
I don't really care about your game. I hope you do well, but I don't care what disc you're throwing. I do not care how you threw it. Just don't really care about that. And then I also appreciate your feedback from like how things are going with like courses and things, but unless you're willing to put in time, money, or effort into anything, I really don't value your opinion.
Right. All right. Ben, it's your turn to ask our random question of the night.
What is the most useless fact you know in the holster? What do you have? Let's hear it.
So much.
The human head weighs 8 pounds.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
And the only reason I ever think about that is because of Jerry Maguire. They're like the kid and him are like sitting in the car, like spitting facts at each other.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, do you know birds and bees can smell fear or whatever, or dogs and bees can smell fear? Like they're just going back and forth at each other. So that's one of the things that I remember.
That is a good one. That hippopotami, that's not how you say it, but I like saying it that way. The hippopotami.
They can't swim.
Actually, they can't. That can't be a true fact.
No, that was going to be my fact, actually. They can't swim. Hippopotamuses can't.
Really?
Hippopotami cannot swim. They just propel themselves. They walk and then they like propel themselves off of the floor of the water.
Yeah. Okay. That's kind of what I do too, though. Maybe I'm a hippopotami.
They also can't float.
They are really pissy too, by the way.
Yeah.
It's because they got
That's
all them
amazing.
teeth and no teeth brush. That's alligators, isn't it? Or crocodiles. All right, I'll change mine then. Did you know that owls don't poop?
Yeah, they cough up their food.
Yeah, they have pellets.
Yeah.
Owl pellets. And they regurgitate them. They go, bleh.
That's a really weird thing, because like I know it's like bones and like whatever else, but like how do you stay how do you get nutrients if you're like
Yeah.
regurgitating all your
Well, it's kind of like a Venus flytrap. When they catch something, they don't actually digest.
right?
They just they
Dissolve it.
secrete enzymes and dissolve it, and it like absorbs themselves. Yeah. So
That's so crazy.
So there you go. Owls don't poop. Door disc golf. Parliament. We don't poop.
Speaking of Venus flytraps, did you know that the flytraps are smart enough and that they adapt to have the flytrap the actual trap itself taller than where the pollinators would come, like what's around them, so that they wouldn't eat the pollinator, which would keep them alive.
That's smart. They're so smart. Huh. Wonder if that was a choice.
I don't know.
Was that like a, hey guys, we're kind of killing our chances to survive here, so let's get a little bit taller. Let's become a baller. Let's see if we can find a girl. And then if we did, we would call her. Ben, do you know that song?
Yes, I do.
Okay, good. Just wanted to make sure. For you old guys out there, that was for you.
Yeah. Did you know that slinkies are 82 feet long?
That's long.
Yeah. If you stretch out a slinky.
Did you know that if you throw a Rubik's Cube on the ground, it breaks? Just throwing that out there, too.
Just happens to fall off something like that.
Yeah, it just happens to go into a lot of pieces.
This one's a good one. Most car horns are in the key of F.
Huh. What are most farts in the key of?
I don't know.
You have the Google box in front of you. You can type it into the digicals there. Ben, you should know this.
Oh, I do not know that what the key is.
Wait, hold on.
There's answers?
Oh boy.
I'm waiting for this. This, guys, is the most pivotal portion of this episode right here.
I don't know what this was on, but so if it was a little fart, it could be C minor, but if it's a big one, it could be C major. Oh my god.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
One of my other facts that I do know is that in Switzerland, it is illegal to own just one guinea pig. You have
to own just one?
If you cannot just own just one, because it's considered animal abuse, because guinea pigs are social creatures, so they need to have social interaction. So you must either have two or more if you're going to own a guinea pig.
Wow.
What if you promise to give them the Ace Ventura every day? Ooja boodoo. Ooja boodoo. No.
Nah.
Okay.
Last one. Lego minifigures have the largest population on the earth.
Huh.
Good. Yeah.
That doesn't surprise me.
It doesn't surprise me either. We were actually so we're getting carpet in a couple of the rooms in the house, and one of them's my son's room because it's above the baby's room.
Yeah.
And he's an animal, so like all the noises he makes, figured it's a little insulation. But with that being said, we're cleaning up his Legos or his Lego, and there are so many minifigures. It's incredible. It's incredible. And they really hurt when you step on them, especially when he takes them apart and you just step on the head.
Oh my god.
It hurts so bad.
The little nub like on the figure. Yeah.
Oh, it's so bad. All right. Anything inspirational to leave us on?
Well, do you have a shop update?
You don't have door disc updates?
Oh, yeah. Well, shop updates. Hey, I'll give you some shop updates.
Ooh.
So, shop updates. We did just get a huge trilogy restock. It is on the site. We do have the MVP. We have them in hand. We just can't sell them yet. The Halloween series. We also, what else did we have coming in? Ooh, the MD1s should be coming in here pretty soon. The Horizon MD1s. We were supposed to start being able to sell them on the 8th, but who knows if they've changed that yet. So Discmania MD1 should be in here pretty soon. And then, like I said, Innova, we are placing an order. I'm hoping this week we will get some coming in. And then from there, I don't know if there's really much else to be updated on other than just keeping an eye on the website, doordisc.com, and you can find all those beautiful things. And we do still have some 19 and 20 glow Halloween buzzes. So we don't have the full color, but we do have the glow ones. They are affectionately known as the no glows because they don't glow very well, but they are some beautiful ones because it's the Chucky and then the Scream mask guy thing. So those are the two that we got. And we still have, I don't we have a ton of them, but we do have some, and they're all max weight. So outside of that, anything inspirational to leave us on?
I do not have anything.
All right.
Not I, said the fly.
How about keep swimming and don't give up?
Okay.
Does that work?
Works for me.
All right. With that being said, deuces in the toilet. Peace out. Keep it subpar. Bye.